What are implied threats in stalking orders? When we talk about stalking orders, one important aspect to consider is implied threats. These are not straightforward threats but rather hints or suggestions of harm that can create fear. It is essential to understand how these implied threats fit into the broader context of family law and domestic violence. Implied threats can arise from behaviors or communications that do not explicitly state a danger. Instead, they suggest a potential for harm based on the situation. For example, if someone repeatedly sends messages that hint at negative consequences if their demands are not met, that can be seen as an implied threat. In family law, particularly in cases involving stalking or domestic violence, courts take these implied threats seriously. They recognize that the impact of such threats can be just as damaging as direct threats. This understanding is vital for protecting victims who may feel unsafe due to these subtler forms of intimidation. A stalking order is a legal protection designed to prevent one person from harassing or stalking another. Stalking typically involves unwanted attention or contact that causes fear or emotional distress. When implied threats are present, they can strengthen the case for a stalking order. Courts will look at the overall situation, including the history between the individuals involved, the frequency of communications, and how the victim perceives those communications. If implied threats contribute to the victim's fear, that can justify the need for a protective order. Implied threats can take many forms. They might include repeated unwanted messages that suggest harm without saying it outright. They could also involve language that references past abusive behavior while making demands that imply punishment if not met. Actions like following or monitoring someone can also imply a threat. These behaviors can create a sense of intimidation, even if no direct words are used to express harm. Recognizing implied threats is essential for ensuring that protective orders are effective. It helps address not only clear threats but also those more subtle forms of intimidation that can be just as harmful. This approach allows the legal system to protect victims from ongoing harassment that might otherwise be challenging to prove. In summary, implied threats in stalking orders are those hints of danger that arise from context and behavior. Family law acknowledges these as valid grounds for protective measures, ensuring that victims can find safety and support.